What do a broken model, a man who follows absolutely nobody, and a woman wrapped in a blue rug have in common? They're all reasons I'm filing for divorce. Claude, it's over. My problems with Anthropic have been piling up for months, and I've reached the point where I can't support the company anymore. This is my personal opinion, but I want to explain why I'm removing Claude from my stack. The short version is that Anthropic's culture makes me uncomfortable, and the company keeps finding new ways to frustrate its own users. I can't decide who wins the AI race. Nobody gave me that button. But I can decide where my money goes, and I don't have to keep sending it to a company I disagree with. Before we sign the divorce papers, let's revisit how Claude and I got together. The year was 2025, and the world was just discovering this magical little thing called AI. ChatGPT dominated the market, but Claude quickly became the preferred model of the real software engineers. ChatGPT was designed more for ordinary consumers, so serious engineers had to use Claude. More importantly, they had to tell you they used Claude every 7 minutes. Otherwise, how would the peasants using ChatGPT know they were inferior? Claude fanboys were somehow more irritating than vegans. They weren't quite as bad as the people who announced they were gluten-free, like I survived combat, but it was close. Back then, coding with AI usually meant pasting code into ChatGPT or Claude, asking a question, and copying the response back into VS Code. The tools weren't ready for much deep work. I paid for Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini because I wanted to test everything, instead of joining a model religion. Honestly, I disliked Claude at first. You could ask one tiny question and receive 10 pages of tangled word salad. It was like somebody uploaded Kamala Harris into a computer and deleted the off switch. Claude gave decent answers and showed promise with planning, but I never understood the worship. A lot of the hype felt performative, like using Linux. Yes, Linux has legitimate uses, but at least half the Linux experience is telling other people you use Linux. It's the veganism of operating systems. Claude also felt useless without its most expensive plan. It burned through tokens like they expired at midnight, and serious work could easily cost $100 a month or more. As longtime viewers know, I am extremely cheap. ChatGPT suited me because I could hammer it all day without being asked for more money. In 2025, I sent it more than 7,000 prompts on the $20 plan and never bought extra credits. That's commitment material. ChatGPT remained my main tool until Thanksgiving 2025, when everyone started waking up to Claude Code. And Claude Code was sick. You could point an AI tool at an entire code repository and let it cook. Productivity exploded, and I went hard on Claude Code. For the first time, I had a practical reason to use Claude that didn't involve impressing the council of real software engineers. Claude held that advantage for about 6 months because ChatGPT didn't release Codex until May 2026. There was a desktop app in February, but it was Mac only. I use Windows because I'm an adult. Then Grok Build arrived in July, and I've loved it. Today, Grok Build and ChatGPT Codex can handle everything I need. I've considered canceling Claude before. Now, it's time to pull the plug, flush the toilet, and let nature take its course. So, what pushed me over the edge? First, I think Anthropic looks down on its customers. The company warns everyone to fear AI while presenting itself as the only noble institution capable of saving humanity from it. It's a cocktail of fear-mongering, gaslighting, and self-importance. Dario doesn't help. The mannerisms, the ego, the terrible hair, everything about him radiates SBF energy. That is not a comparison any chief executive should want. Anthropic's conferences feel like cult orientation. Speaker has the same body language, mannerisms, and earth tone wardrobe. Earth tones, rug lady, and the clown. Dario's essay is called Machines of Loving Grace, which sounds like scripture from a religion invented in a co-working space. His website has the conference's flat earth tone aesthetic. To be clear, this is my opinion. Anthropic's culture feels cult-like. It makes me uncomfortable, and I don't want to help spread it. Then we have Anthropic's treatment of users, beginning with the Mythos and Fable mess. Rumors about Mythos started in March, but access didn't arrive until April. When it did, a selected group of companies got the model, while everyone else stood outside with their faces pressed against the glass. I have no information about that process. I don't know who chose those companies, what criteria they used, or how involved the government was. I only know what it looked like. Powerful people received the best AI tools while the rest of us returned to the fields as lowly serfs. Meanwhile, King Dario and his royal court enjoyed feasts and presumably ceremonial sacrifices. Allegedly. I have no evidence of sacrifices. I just wouldn't rule them out. These fools are hilarious. Carry on, investors. The humble Poratalderite received Fable in June, but Anthropic said we couldn't keep it for long. His Highness Dario had granted us a limited preview, just enough time to get attached before somebody took it away. Was the goal to get us addicted before forcing everyone through the API and raising the price? I can't prove that. The API requirement was announced. The addiction theory is simply my opinion. Allegedly, I think. That's how law works, probably. Fortunately, Elon Musk and Sam Altman released models that competed with Fable and thoroughly mogged Anthropic. The deadline kept moving, 1 week, then another couple of weeks, then a little longer. Eventually, Anthropic opened Fable to everyone, except only half our weekly allowance could be used with it. In defeat, Anthropic still slipped in one final little screw you. Then we learned Fable wasn't available for many important requests. Ask a security question, and it may quietly drop you to Opus, and not Opus 5, Opus 4.8. Why? Just why? Medical researchers asking biology questions can be downgraded too. Worse, Anthropic initially did this without telling anyone. Users thought they were receiving one model while the company silently served them something weaker. I'm amazed lawyers haven't entered a conference room and started repeating the phrase class action. Allegedly. I think. Customer frustration was overflowing, so Anthropic naturally decided what everybody needed was hidden watermarks in their answers. I don't understand technical detail. My understanding is that responses are constructed to be traceable by Anthropic. If that means the answer isn't as clean or useful as it could be. For me, that was the last straw. And here's the fun part. Anthropic started doing this at the beginning of August before telling anyone. If you made something with Claude after August 2, congratulations, your work may contain a watermark. What a lovely surprise. I tolerated Anthropic's nonsense when Claude was dramatically better than alternative. It isn't anymore. The company has moved from mildly irritating to behavior I consider deceptive. Allegedly, I think. Grok Build and ChatGPT Code do almost everything I need, and I expect Grok 4.7 to outperform Fable anyway. Anthropic still can't release Mythos after touring the planet and warning everyone that it's dangerously powerful. The sky is falling. Somebody must act. This is terrible. Also, please don't actually stop us. If Mythos launches, I expect so many safety restrictions that people won't get much value from it. Anthropic has been playing poker with its customers, betting that we're too dependent to leave. I'm calling the bluff. Claude is out. I'm moving toward ChatGPT and local models, and hopefully Gemini eventually contributes something useful. That leaves Dario. If you aren't on Twitter, you may have missed his performance over the weekend. The great and powerful Dario, guardian of all knowledge and protector of humanity, descended from the mountain and blessed people with 2 whole tweets. The post was long, but one detail stood out. Dario follows 0 people. 0. Nobody on Earth produces information worthy of Dario's feed. Not a partner, competitor, investor, or customer. The great and powerful Dario has heard everything worth hearing. People will say he doesn't use social media. But X is where business leaders exchange information. If you run one of the world's most companies, I think you should know what your partners, competitors, investors, and customers are saying. Following nobody puts me firmly in the anti-Dario camp. Claude is no longer far ahead of the competition. Anthropic has trapped itself in a cycle where release creates another security panic, and its culture still feels uncomfortably cult-like. So I'm doing the only thing available to me as one small, irrelevant person. I'm walking away from Claude. Will my decision change the industry? No. But I'll know I made the choice that felt right for me. At the end of the day, that's what everyone has to do. Make the choice that feels right for you. And remember to like and subscribe before Mythos becomes self-aware and figures out how to remove me from YouTube. An AI divorce still needs an audience.